All orcs live to fight. They enjoy nothing more than taking on enemies and blowing things up with noisy and destructive firepower they call dakka. Orc Wrecka Krews embody these instinctive desires and enact them with gleeful abandon. Hello there, Kill Team Brutal and Cunning is here, and in this video we're going to show you how to paint an Orc Wrecka in the classic colours of the Rogue Trader era. Personalising your kill teams like this is what our hobby is all about. And these awesome Orc Wrecka models will suit the scheme to perfection. The paints we'll be using are on screen now. You can find the paint list in the description below. We also have a list of the additional equipment we've used, but you can use whatever brushes you feel most comfortable with. If you're new to painting or want to brush up on your skills, you can check out the Citadel Color Painting Essentials playlist to learn all about our paints and techniques. As you can see, we've undercoated our Orc Wrecka with grey cere, as we'll be using quite a few contrast paints for this scheme. Let's get painting. For our first paint, we'll be using Iron Warriors and picking out all of the areas that we want to be dark silver. The areas that you choose for this can be totally up to you. Classic Rogue Trader era Orcs normally had a two-tone metallic finish, so just work your way around the model picking out the areas that you want to be darker silver. I'm looking to fill in any larger working metal areas, leaving the smaller areas for my second silver color to come next. With all the areas that I want to be darker silver picked out, I'm now going to move on to my next silver metallic to fill out the rest of the details. Okay, for my second silver metallic, I'll be using Iron Hand Steel to pick out the raised metallic add-on armor pieces. Just make sure to be relatively neat here when slowly working your way around the model picking out these details. As you can see, they are generally the raised metallic add-on armor pieces and gun casings for the weapons. With that done, our metallics are complete. I would recommend changing your water pot so that you don't get any metallic flakes into the rest of your paints. Next, I'm going to move on to picking out all of the leather details that I can find. For this, I'll be using Wildwood contrast paint. Wildwood is a very pigmented contrast paint that works great for dark and earthy looking leather. I'm looking to pick out his boots, all of the straps that I can see, the belt and the chopper handle. Alright, our retro Wrecka is starting to come together nicely. I love painting this scheme, so let's crack on to the next paint. I'm now going to use Black Templar to pick out the base area of any rockets that I can see, as well as any piping that I can find on the model. It's just small details these, but they do help to bring the model together. Be as neat as you can here, and remember to tidy any mistakes back up with the previous colours. Okay, I'll now use Space Wolves Grey to pick out his trousers. This will set us up nicely for doing the classic camo pattern that we can find on the Rogue Trader era Orcs later on. Again, just be as neat as you can here. Remember, when base painting with contrast like this, you want to almost drop or dab the paint onto the area that you want painted, instead of doing traditional brush strokes. This helps to avoid any unwanted tide marks and floods the area really nicely for you. Okay, his trousers are painted and now it's time to tackle the skin. Alright, for the skin I'll be using Gut Ripper Flesh contrast paint. However, I won't be applying any of it onto his face. I'm only doing the skin now for a couple of reasons. Firstly, Gut Ripper Flesh is a very light contrast paint, so if I get it over other darker details, I don't need to worry too much as the darker paints will hide the mistake. And secondly, if I painted the skin first, I would most likely have to tidy up quite a lot using grey cere and then reapplying Gut Ripper Flesh. Once the first layer of Gut Ripper Flesh is over the skin, I'm going to do another, but this time just focusing on putting it straight into the recesses to add some natural depth to the skin. Right, now for the cool part. Rogue Trader era Orcs were famous for their war paint. In order to do this, I'll be using Blood Angel's Red to paint one half of his face. The first thing that I need to do is just lightly paint a line roughly down the center from top to bottom. If you're not completely central or straight, don't worry. Orcs don't care much for symmetry. Once your line is complete, then just fill in one half of the face. Once that is done, I then need to pick out the rocket heads for that awesome two-tone rocket look. Okay, I'll do the other half of the face next, and for this I'll be using Apothecary White. This is where the grey cere undercoat becomes so handy. Once that is done, I'll then apply it all over the loincloth as well. And there we go, the classic war paint is done. Now to pick out a couple of smaller details. We're really cracking through this. I'm going to use Frostheart to pick out any lenses that I can find on the model. Not many at all, but the light blue here works really nicely as a little spot color that adds some visual interest to our model. Once that is done, I'm going to use Skeleton Horde to pick out all of the teeth and nails that I can find. Trying to be as neat as I can here, as I don't want to get any of it onto the green skin areas. Alright, that's all of the base coats done. Now to move on to doing the shading phase. I'm going to use Nuln Oil to shade over all of the metallic areas, recess shade the red war paint as well as the green skin to just add a bit more depth to it. When applying an all over shade, just watch out for any pooling. If you notice some, dry off your brush and soak it up with the dry bristles. We're now moving on to our first highlight. For this, I'll be using Stormhost Silver and edge highlighting all of the metallic areas. You can totally choose to dry brush highlight these if you wish to. However, I prefer an edge highlight on my metallics as I think this makes them look more hard and sharp. If you do choose to do an edge highlight, try to keep the highlights as neat and thin as possible because this helps to sell the metallic feel more. With all the metallics highlighted, I'm going to change the water in my water pot so I don't get any metallic flakes in the rest of my paints. Next up, I'm using Screaming Skull to stipple highlight the brown leather details. This will give them a nice rough and worn looking appearance. Use the tip of your brush to add the little scratches every so often along the edges. We're not looking for a consistent line here. Remember that with leather, when it gets worn, it goes slightly lighter. Once that is done, I'll then highlight the teeth and nails that I can see by adding some color to the points of them. This will help to make them pop out a little more. With that done, I'm going to move on to highlighting the war paint. For the white war paint, I'm using White Scar as my highlight here, picking out all of the raised facial details. Taking my time and trying to be as neat as I can here because I don't want to overpower the area. If you do make a mistake, tidy back up with Grey Seer and then reapply Apothecary White. When that is done, I'll highlight the loincloth as well. For the red war paint, I'll be using Wild Rider Red to pick out all of the raised areas, just like I did for the white war paint. Once that is done, I'll then edge highlight the red rocket heads as well. Alright, I'm going to add a little spot highlight to the red war paint using Fire Dragon Bright and applying it to the very raised areas that I can find. This is a great way of adding just a bit more detail to your models. You don't have to do this to all of your orcs, but it will look awesome on your heroes and characters. Once that is done, I'm going to pick out his eyes as well. Next up, I'm going to focus on the skin. For the skin, I'm going to dry brush highlight Phalanx Yellow over it. This will help to just make the skin pop out a little more. I'm using a small dry brush here to control the application. If you want to know more about dry brushing, you can always go check out our Painting Essentials video all about it. Try to be as neat as you can and focus on the raised areas of muscle. Awesome, our green skin is looking great. Now to do the camo pattern on the trousers. Right, I'm going to use Leviathan Blue contrast paint to paint my camo on the trousers. The camo pattern is like a tiger stripe, so I'm going to do this by painting the lines across the trousers. I'm going to keep these relatively small so I can get a few in here and there to really fill out the area. I'll map out the pattern first, a rough sketch triangular shape, and then fill it in. Take your time with this, and if you make a mistake, tidy back up with Grey Seer and then Space Wolves Grey. Okay, I'm now going to highlight the trousers and camo stripes with Blue Horror. I'm looking to pick out the edges of the trousers and any raised folds that I can see. Once that is done, I'll paint a small line of Blue Horror along the top of the tiger stripes as well. Taking my time and trying to be as neat as I can when doing this. Alright, with that last highlight done, our Rogue Trader era theme for our Kill Team Wreckers is complete. I'll now show you how to do some alternative war paint patterns to add some more fun to your kill team. Right, we're now going to show you how to do some alternative war paint designs. These will be using the same colors as we did earlier, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the process. And with those extra war painted faces done, our Ork Wrecker is completed. He's ready to lead his kill team against anyone foolish enough to get in their way. We've had a lot of fun with this video and we hope you have too. For more painting videos, head over to our YouTube channel. If you need more help, you can always head to one of our Warhammer stores where our friendly staff will be more than happy to help. Well, we hope you've enjoyed this video and we'll see you again soon. Bye bye!